Hey, Brennan here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Got a different kind of show for you here today on the channel. We are going to do a 7-round Devy startup mock draft. If you play Dynasty, you play Fantasy, and you're wondering what Devy mock draft means, basically a Devy is another layer of a Dynasty league where we are drafting college players before they are drafted on the NFL, putting them on our benches, and then waiting after the draft. When they get drafted, they're already on our rosters. So we're going to be drafting players that are going to be 2025 draft picks, 2026 draft picks, and 2027 draft picks. It's a great, fun format out there. If you want to know more about Devy leagues and how to get started in them, simply send me an email on the bottom below. And again, I have a product that I call the Devy Dashboard, which is a database of all of the players that we're going to talk about today in a big database broken down by classes. Really, really cool resource if you're looking to learn more about Devy and want access to a 2-week trial to my dashboard. Hit me up. They kind of go hand in hand. It's a very, very fun format. So let's get started. I basically reached out, man, to a lot of the brightest minds out there in the Devy space. I've been doing this a long time, been scouting players for years before they head to the NFL draft, and everyone I selected to participate in this draft with me kind of has the same mentality. You know, they want to take Dynasty leagues to the next level and have some fun with it. So let's get started, man. I'm going to give a brief introduction to each and every one of these players or the people who are drafting with me today. I'm going to put all their information in the show notes. Please go to their YouTube channel, subscribe. Please follow them on X. These are all great individuals when it comes to scouting future classes. Even if you don't want to play Devy, these analysts out there are always putting out content, getting ahead of the curve for your Dynasty rookie draft. Sorry, let's not waste any more time. I'm going to run through these pretty quick. So again, on my dashboard, I've got scouting reports and film breakdowns on a lot of these players, but we're going to go through this really quick right now. It is a startup, so it is going to be a snake draft. So let's not waste any more time. First pick, Kevin Coleman from the Devy Royale, has a podcast and YouTube channel. Please, like I said, I'm going to introduce these players. Please go subscribe to their work. All do great work. All right. Kevin Coleman with the first pick goes with Luther Burden, wide receiver from Missouri. Probably going to be, the wide receiver 1, 2, maybe 3, but most likely 1 or 2 in the 2025 draft class. I can certainly understand, given how difficult it is to hit on quarterbacks in this format, that you go with a wide receiver. Jared Wackerly from Dynasty Nerds, a longtime friend of mine in this space, goes with Shedeur Sanders, Colorado quarterback. He will be a 2025 NFL draft pick next year. Arguably one of the top 3 quarterbacks being taken in the draft. John Laub from Fantrax and the Rookie Big Board selects Evan Stewart, wide receiver, played at Texas A&M in 2023. 2024, he transfers to Oregon. Should have a solid year this year. He will be another early pick in the NFL draft in 2025. Matt Hicks, also from the Rookie Big Board, founder of the Rookie Big Board, has a great YouTube channel as well. Picks Emeka Egbuka. You can't go wrong with an Ohio State running back, right? You can't. I mean, they all seem to hit when they get drafted and get that early draft capital. Going down to a wide receiver pick, again, I'm not unexpected to see wide receivers go early in these startup Devy drafts. All right, Shane Hallam from the Draft Countdown, one of my favorite NFL analysts out there. He's a real scout for, real NFL, not the fantasy game that we like to play. Plays fantasy, but he's more of a real NFL scout. He selects Trevion Henderson, running back from Ohio State, arguably could be the RB1 of the 2025 class. All right. I got the next pick. Again, Devy Dashboard is my product, and you're watching it on my YouTube channel, so I don't think I have to plug that. But I'm taking Tatorian McMillan, T-Mac, I like to call him, big receiver. He's got that length, reminds me of kind of like a Drake London type, right? But anyway, I'm going to take him here with the pick here in the first round, wide receiver from Arizona. He is going to be a top pick in the first round in the 2025 draft class. All right. Austin Nace from the great website campus2canton.com and YouTube channel. He selects Zachariah Branch, USC. Now, he's not going to go to the draft next year. He'll be a 2026 wide receiver, but right now he is an explosive receiver out of USC. Should have a really, really good second season at USC this year. Jason DiRienzo, my podcast co-host. Our podcast is called Devy to Dynasty Football. He takes Drew Aller here, quarterback from Penn State. A lot's going to have to happen for Drew Aller this year, man. The guy's got big physical tools, just needs to put it together on the field. My son goes to Penn State. I watch Drew Aller every Saturday. I'm hoping for a huge year from him. All right, Christian Williams, also from the Devy Royale podcast and YouTube channel, and draft analyst as well, selects Barian Brown from Kentucky. All right, he will be a 2025 wide receiver prospect, okay? Good pick here. He's going to be an explosive receiver, great special teamers, punt returner, kickoff returner as well. Cory Pereira, who also is from Campus to Canton and a contributor on my dashboard as well, takes Quinshawn Judkins. You see that right, 2 Ohio State running backs in the first round. It's going to be a 1-2 punch there in Ohio State this year running the football. Felix Sharpe, also from the Campus to Canton podcast, website, and YouTube channel. One of the first guys I met in this space, takes Isaiah Bond. Got a little tongue twisted there. Bond played at he's going to Texas this year. Was at Bama last year. Transfers to Texas, again playing with Ewers, should have a huge monster year. Arguably could be a first-round pick next year in the draft, could be a second-rounder, but no way he gets out of day 2 with his skill set. All right, rounding out the first round, Eric Froton from NBC Sports. This guy is all about college fantasy football and does a lot of scouting for himself. Takes Carson Beck of Georgia. Could be the QB1 of the 2025 class next year, all right? Eric gets the first pick in the second round. He's going to go with Carnell Tate, another wide receiver from Ohio State. Eric or Felix Sharpe right after him. We're on the turn here. Is going to take Jeremiah Smith. Man, this kid is looking special. He could be the next Marvin Harrison Jr. Great selection here. I'm really surprised Tate went before Smith. But nonetheless, you can't go wrong. That's 3 Ohio State wide receivers here. We're not even, really just getting started in the second round here. Cory Pereira back on the clock takes Justice Haynes. I think the Alabama running back 1 of the 2024 season. He looks great, man. Explosive, can catch the ball out of the backfield. Excellent selection. Cory doubling down on running backs here in the first 2 rounds. Christian Williams back on the clock takes Oscar Delp, tight end. A little early for a tight end for me, but it is a tight end premium league that we're drafting here. Probably should have mentioned that. It is a Superflex PPR tight end premium league. Oscar Delp, is he the next great tight end to come out of Georgia? They got Ben Urasek there too this year. We'll have to see, but I imagine both of those guys are going to get on the field. Oscar Delp is eligible for the 2025 draft. All right. Jason DiRienzo, my podcast co-host, doubles down, or doesn't double down, but takes CJ Baxter, exciting running back from Texas. He's going into his second year. He is a 2026 RB option in the 2026 draft. He will not be eligible next year. Austin Nace taking Nick Singleton here at the 206. Got another big season for Penn State. Penn State has a lot of good Dynasty or Devy assets, man. We need this year to be the year where they all break out and get back to that stardom where they had when they came out of high school. I'm back on the clock, and I'm taking Trevor Etienne, transfers from Florida to Georgia. Unfortunately, he got in a little off-season trouble, but I'm hoping that doesn't prevent him from getting on the field. But he's an explosive back. Of course, if the last name sounds familiar, it should. His brother Travis plays for the Jaguars. All right. Shane Hallam goes with Ollie Gordon. Gordon's getting a lot of RB1 2025 draft buzz, man, like a first-round talent. So I got to do a little more scouting on him. Runs a little upright for me, man, but he was a productive back at Oklahoma State last year, man. Exciting prospect heading into the 2025 draft class. Matt Hicks goes with Devin Neal. Many thought he was going to be a 2024 running back, but he decides to come back for his senior year at Kansas. So we'll have to see if he can continue to improve his draft stock. John Laub, Kevin Concepcion, North NC State wide receiver, is a true freshman last year, man. He broke out. He was an explosive player, got the ball all over the field. He's not eligible till 2026, so he will not be in next year's draft. But that's what this format is. If you'd like a player and you're going to go deeper than next year, he's on your roster forever, man. You're going to have to wait a little longer, but it's fun nonetheless, all right? Jared Wackerly goes with Donovan Edwards. Big year for Donovan Edwards this year. Blake Corum is in the NFL. It is his backfield. It looks like he got a little bigger in the spring game, which was nice because my knock on Edwards has been his splay strength running in between the tackles. Let's see what he can do this year. Kevin Coleman's got 2 picks. His first pick, Matthew Golden, goes from Houston and ends up transferring to Texas. Texas Longhorns are reloaded in the wide receiver receiver position with Mitchell and Worthy at the NFL level. So they just basically reload for the 2024 season. And he picks Eugene Wilson III, an exciting freshman wide receiver who really flashed as a freshman last year. He won't be eligible for the draft until 2026. All right. Jared Wackerly on the turn here on the third round goes with Ashton Genty. Man, this guy is explosive running back, can catch the ball out of the backfield, man, but this guy's got some lateral movement, some excitement to his game. If you haven't checked out Genty's film, go check it out. I think I got one or two films on this YouTube channel, but he should be one of the top running backs for the 2025 draft next year. All right. John Laub goes with Amarian Hampton, super productive running back from North Carolina. He's coming back this year, won't have Drake May. Hopefully his offensive line can get a little better, but he was ultra productive. I think he had over 1,500 yards last year. He should carry the rock again and be a 2025 running back, day two back, I would assume at this point. Matt Hicks goes to one of his favorite team, the Tennessee Volunteers, man, and he takes Nico Amalavea. I'm so bad with last names, but we'll just call him Nico right now. Quarterback, he is a sophomore this year, but it is his turn to throw the rock down there in Tennessee. He's a quarterback who's got a bright future. Let's see if he can put it together down there for the Volunteers this year. Shane Hallam back on the clock takes Archie Manning. Archie Manning just flashed at his spring practice or spring ball, whatever you want to call it, down there at Texas. He's nipping on Ewers' heels, so he's not going to be eligible until 2026 NFL draft, but he's got a lot of buzz, especially after the spring game, him throwing the rock vertical on a few plays. I am back on the clock, and I'm taking one of my favorite future quarterbacks, Jackson Arnold. He is not eligible until 2026, but it's his game. It's his team right now in Oklahoma. He's going to be the starter this year. He has flashed as a freshman last year in some mop-up duty. I'm expecting big things from Jackson Arnold. Super excited to get him here in the third round. Austin Nace takes Ryan Williams, an incoming freshman headed to Auburn. All right. No, I think he's going to Alabama. But in any case, yeah, I think he's going to Alabama. So Alabama, he's got that, pedigree, probably the top 2 or 3 wide receiver coming out of high school. I can understand the excitement about him. He is a twitchy player. I have a film breakdown on this YouTube channel for Ryan Williams. Go check him out there. And go check out his game. I have a scouting report as well on him. So Jason DiRienzo, he comes back with Katron Allen, the second Penn State running back eligible for the 2025 draft next year. Let's see if he can put it together. Both him and Singleton are the 1-2 punch up there at Happy Valley, and both of them should get day 2 draft capital at the least, okay? Christian Williams, I like this pick a lot. Jordan James, running back from Oregon. He is 2025 eligible. Really shifty, compact player. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Blake Corum in his play style. But nonetheless, that backfield is all his in Oregon this year and should be in line for a monster season. All right, Cory Pereira going with Connor Wegman, quarterback from Texas A&M. He's going into his 3rd season. Hasn't played a lot. He got hurt last year. He's on the mend, should be a starter. He loses Evan Stewart, his favorite wide receiver from last year. So we'll see if he can put it together. He is eligible for the 2025 draft, but most likely I think he comes back and he won't really be playing until 2026. Felix Sharpe takes Travis Hunter, wide receiver / cornerback from Colorado. I don't know. A lot of people think he's going to be a corner and not a wide receiver. We will have to see, but he is an explosive player. And if he does play wide receiver, good value here in the 3rd round. All right, Eric has 2 back-to-back picks. Mika Hudson going to Texas Tech, ranked number 2 behind Jeremiah Smith as a freshman coming in. He is a 2027 NFL draft prospect. But he's going to Texas Tech. He should be the number 1 wide receiver on that team as a freshman. Let's see if he can put it together. And then Raheem Sanders, all right, Reclamation Project. All right, Raheem Sanders has been a Devy darling for years, put on too much weight last year. He got hurt. He's back, apparently lost some weight. We'll have to see if he can put it together and have a good season and get his NFL draft stock back up. He has been a faller last year given the lack of production and the increase in weight. All right, Felix Sharpe is going with Deuce Robinson. Is he a tight end? Is he a wide receiver? Nonetheless, he plays for USC and should get his hands on the ball. An explosive, big, athletic guy. Should be a primary ball handler, receiver for USC and Miller Moss this season. All right, Cory Pereira goes with Jonte Cook. He was an exciting freshman last year, so he's a 2026 wide receiver prospect. deep room in Texas, like we already talked about. They already reloaded the room with a couple other guys. But Jonte Cook, hopefully, if he can emerge this year and be a good part of that rotation, he should have very good draft capital in 2026. All right, Christian Williams, Jaden Ott here with the 404 pick. I'm not a big fan of Jaden Ott personally. California running back. He's got a really good pass catching skill set out of the backfield. Jason DiRienzo selects one of our favorite players as a freshman, Antonio Williams from Clemson, wide receiver. He's a 2025 NFL prospect going into his true junior year this year. Had a great freshman season, was hurt a little bit last year. So let's see if he can have a rebound year and increase his draft stock. Like the value here in the 4th round. Austin Nace selects Caleb Jackson here with the 4.06. Exciting LSU running back. Man, we are just yearning for the next running back to come out of LSU, right? I mean, we are just waiting and waiting. Hopefully this is the year, but he's going to be a 2026 running back prospect, not in next year's draft as he is going into his sophomore year. All right, I'm back on the clock, and I'm going with Antoine Wells Jr., Juice Wells. He was hurt last year. Transfers from Mississippi to Ole Miss. No, he was at South Carolina to Ole Miss this year. So he's going to be playing with Trey Harris and Jackson Dart. I'm excited to have a rebound year. I think he's one of the sleeper wide receivers of the 2025 draft. I couldn't let him fall any farther than here. Shane Hallam going with Dante Moore at Oregon. He's going to be playing behind Dylan Gabriel this year, but he's going to have to wait his turn. That might not be a bad thing if he is not ready. He started his career at UCLA, had some ups and downs. Now he goes to a situation where he's going to be the backup, maybe the best thing for his long-term career to rebound. All right. Cameron Coleman, incoming freshman. Matt Hicks selects him. Probably the 2 or 3 wide receiver in the freshman class. Big, athletic guy, fast. I'm excited to see what Cam Coleman can do. He flashed at the spring game as well and made some noise, so he could be a fun 2027 NFL draft prospect. All right, John Laub takes Jackson Dart. All right, we just talked about those receivers. Hey, man, Jackson Dart started at USC 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He's been last 2 years. He's been at Ole Miss going into his senior year. He is 2025 eligible for the quarterback room. Love the way this guy plays. Physical, tough, can sling the ball all over. We'll have to see what his draft stock can do. He's probably an early day 3 pick as we stand here in May right now. All right. So Jared Wackerly takes Quinn Ewers. All right. This guy could be a first-round pick, could be a day 2 pick. We'll have to see. He's got to get more consistent throwing the ball vertical, but nonetheless, he is in the discussion for QB 1, 2, or 3 of the 2025 NFL draft class next year. Kevin Coleman taking one of my favorite running backs here. Fantastic pick with the 412. Damian Martinez goes from Oregon State. He is now down in Miami. Should be featured down there playing with Mark Fletcher, who's a 2026, and I'm sure we're going to see his name here coming up, I think, pretty shortly. Damian Martinez, one of my sleeper, really solid running backs of the 2025 draft class. Great pick here by Kevin. Then he takes Colston Loveland here on the turn going into the 5th round. A lot of people have Colston, Loveland as the tight end 1 of the 2025 draft class. So I'm not there, but he's going to be in the top 3 or 4 most likely. Athletic guy from Michigan. Jared Wackerly back on the clock takes an exciting DJ Lagway. Man, he is looking like the best quarterback of the 2027 draft class. He is a freshman at Florida. He's got the dual threat abilities, got big arm, so good things down there in Florida. He could be the Anthony Richardson kind of 2 in 2 or 3 years from now. All right, John Laub back on the clock takes Phil Maffa, just a blue-collar, down-and-dirty running back from Clemson, played behind Will Shipley last year. Could have a good year, could have good draft capital, too. He's a big guy. So, again, probably an early day 3 guy, I'm thinking, but here, good value here in the 5th round. Matt Hicks going with Reuben Owens, running back from Texas A&M. Didn't do a whole lot last year, but he was a high recruit coming out of high school, expecting big things from him this year as well. Shane Hallam going with Roman Hemby from Maryland. He is a 2025 running back. Can't say I've watched a lot of Hemby, but, here in the 5th round, people are taking guys that they've probably scouted, and I'm sure Shane has done a lot of work on Roman Hemby and likes what he sees there. I'm back on the clock, and I'm taking Nick Anderson, wide receiver from Oklahoma, one of my favorite 2025 wide receivers. Right now, he's not in the conversation of one of the bigger names, but, really, he's going into his true junior year. Last year, he just exploded. His freshman year didn't do a whole lot. Expecting big things from Nick Anderson this year. All right. Austin Nace going with TJ Moore, one of my favorite freshman running backs, 2027 wide receiver. I have a film review here on this channel, man. Go check it out. I think you're going to like what you see, man, but he could be the next best Clemson wide receiver. All right, Jason DiRienzo takes Dane Key. Jason, I know, likes Dane Key a lot. Great pick here. He's kind of an under-the-radar wide receiver right now, but he is 2025 draft eligible. Came in with Barian Brown, who, if you remember, he was a first-round pick in this mock. He is his teammate, and some say Dane Key might be a better player than Barian Brown. All right, with the next pick, Christian Williams selects Jaden Blue. Love this pick. The guy has had to wait his turn. He's going to still wait his turn behind C.J. Baxter, who we talked a little bit about earlier. But, man, he flashed last year. He got on the field a little bit and showed his skill set. He could be a sleeper heading into the 2025 NFL Draft. All right, Cory Pereira takes Dylan Raiola. He is the other great quarterback who is an incoming freshman going to Nebraska. Really, really good skill set. Love this pick here. Again, taking a quarterback here in the 5th round makes perfect sense. Felix Sharpe takes DJ Giddens, Kansas State running back. Can't say I've watched a ton of film on Giddens. I know he is a 2025 running back, but I'm sure we'll be getting eyes on him as we get through the spring and summer scouting season. All right. Julian Sayin going here. Eric Froton with the 5'12", taking Julian Sayin. All right. Could he be the next best Alabama quarterback? We'll have to say. It's Jalen Milroe's job this year, but maybe Sayin this year is the guy who is the future of Alabama. All right, he's got to double down on another Ohio State wide receiver, and he's going to go with Brandon Inniss here with the 601 pick. I love it. Brandon Inniss should get on the field this year. We're going to hope, because if he doesn't, it's probably not going to make good things for Inniss. But I like the pick here, this part of the draft. All right, Felix Sharpe going with Luke Lachey, Iowa tight end. You know you can't fade Iowa tight ends, right? So, last year we were thinking he was going to be a 2024 tight end. Decides to wait. Is coming to the 2025 draft instead. Could be a tight end 1, 2, or 3 in the class. All right. Cory Pereira taking one of his favorite wide receivers, Alec Ayamaner. If you guys remember, this guy blew up against Colorado. There's a film and a film breakdown and scouting report on this YouTube channel. Go check it out. Exciting receiver from Stanford. Is eligible for the 2025 NFL Draft. All right. Christian Williams go with Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver. He's going into his true sophomore season. Really didn't get his hands on the ball as a freshman, but all signs are stock up that he should be a solid slot receiver. Exciting option for the USC wide receiver room. Jason DiRienzo goes with Mylan Graham. This is an incoming freshman wide receiver, probably the ranked number between number 8 and 12 on the recruiting services. But I know that Jason is a big fan of this kid, and he's going to Ohio State. And why would you ever consider fading an Ohio State wide receiver? You probably aren't, right? All right, Austin Nace takes Jalen Hale. All right, Alabama wide receiver. I'm up next, and I'm going with one of my favorite running backs, man, Nate Frazier, going to Georgia. I love this kid. He is my number 1 running back coming into the class this year. This guy is explosive. Love getting Nate Frazier. I could not let him fall any further. I'm afraid someone was going to nab him. Love myself some Nate Frazier, one of my guys. Shane Hallam takes Luke Haas, great tight end from Arkansas. Got hurt last year, but man, before he got hurt, he was flashing all over the field. Matt Hicks takes Avery Johnson, quarterback from Kansas State. John Laub takes Torrey Horton, Colorado State wide receiver. Some people thought he was going to be a 2024 wide receiver. He comes back, but he should be a 2025 receiver, probably in the top 10 area. I'm expecting him right now. That's where he is in my ranks on my dashboard. All right, Jared Wackerly takes Will Shepard, wide receiver. Kevin Coleman takes Jared Gibson, exciting Texas running back. He'll also have to wait his turn most likely. For a couple seasons, but that's where you are when you get this point in the draft. All right, one more round, guys. We're going to go through these real quick. Mike Matthews, Tennessee wide receiver, incoming freshman, got a scouting report and film review on this YouTube channel of him. Go check that out. Eric Singleton Jr. from Georgia Tech, Jared Wackerly takes him. He's a hot name right now in the Devy circles. John Laub takes Noah Fafita. He's an Arizona quarterback, a little undersized. Don't know what his Devy prospects are to be an NFL quarterback. He he is more, it's kind of like the Bryce Young kind of mold and size, and that kind of scares me off. Matt Hicks takes Mark Fletcher. We talked about him earlier in the show, thinking that his name would be mentioned here. Splitting time with Damian Martinez, now down there in Miami. Good running back, hurt his foot last year. I'm not sure he's 100% going into 2024, but he's probably not going to be a lead guy there now with Martinez there. Shane Hallam going with Jalen Milroe here. Jalen Milroe falling all this by. He is the most polarizing quarterback going into the 2025 draft next year. All right, guy's an athletic freak, can run all over the place, but his passing is average. If he can become a better passer in 2024, I expect his draft capital to go through the roof. I'm taking another guy here with my last pick. I'm taking Riley Leonard, a Duke quarterback who transfers to Notre Dame. Going to get a new opportunity, like his skill set too, but he's got a lot to prove yet on the field before we can consider him an NFL Dynasty future quarterback. Austin Nace taking Aiden Chili's, a quarterback as well. Jason DiRienzo taking one of his Notre Dame homer picks with Jaden Greathouse. Yeah, he likes himself those Notre Dame picks, right? Christian Williams going Jeremiah Love. Love this pick, man. Love this guy. Notre Dame running back. Should have a big season. Great pick here by Christian Williams this late. Cory Pereira is going to go with Roderick Robinson the second, a Georgia running back too. The Georgia running back room is a little crowded right now. I would expect Robinson to get his hands on the ball a good bit though this year. All right. Felix Sharpe takes Lenore Sellers, South Carolina quarterback. I think it's North Carolina. I think it's South Carolina. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's South Carolina. But quarterback, big athletic kid. He's not eligible until the 2026 draft. All right. And Eric is going to round out this industry analyst startup Devy mock draft with Mason Taylor, exciting LSU tight end. It's kind of the forgotten tight end in the 2025 class. So, but I'm sure he's going to have a great year at LSU. They lost a lot of pass catchers there. I could see him having a big year. He is the son of Jason Taylor, if you remember, the edge rusher for the Miami Dolphins. So there you guys got it, man. These guys are the best in the business. I thank them all for coming on and, doing a mock draft. So like I said, I'm going to leave all their information in the show notes. Go check them out. Go check out their profiles. Support their work. Very much appreciate it. And again, if you want information on my dashboard, the product that I sell that has databases and breakdowns of all these players and film reviews and scouting reports, hit me up with the show card that you're going to see at the end of this show. Thank you for watching.